Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome to Things I Wish I Knew Before Moving to Australia. Now, of course, everyone has things that you go, oh, I never would have thought about that. And so these people are just here to go, you know what, skip a step.
If you're thinking of moving to Australia, traveling
I
to
can only
Australia,
imagine
or
there are
you
a whole
just
bunch
want
of
to
people.
know
Wait,
what
firstly,
life...
where was this actually? Okay, when? This was filmed in 2019, so I can understand why people are talking about moving and whatnot. So, okay,
in
at least it's good to know
like, I'm
contextually.
about to give you information that no one else will tell you.
No one else?
Yes!
Right.
Number one on my list.
Cost of
Guys,
living.
Australia is expensive. Honestly,
Yep.
that's one thing that I wish someone had told me before moving here. So when I say Australia is expensive, you guys, I'll start with the renting and housing market in Australia.
Absolutely.
Because that's the worst.
Yeah, there are so many people that come over, or really, I can only imagine that it's either for a holiday, like we've talked about before. Things can get very expensive very quickly. And even though once you're here a little bit more permanently, or even obviously if you grew up here, then you kind of just intermingle with the system already, so you know how much things are. But of course, as we have talked about before, the actual wage in Australia is pretty damn high as well. And so it kind of balances each other out.
So, for example, I stay in a shared apartment with 4 other people.
Fair enough.
And I pay $260 a week, which is
Okay.
like $580 every 2 weeks. Remember, this is a shared apartment. I share my common area, my kitchen with other people. So imagine if I was living off campus in an apartment on my own, how much I would be paying. So that just gives you an example of how renting or buying a property is expensive.
I mean, yeah, exactly what you just said is pretty true. I mean, obviously, if you're having a 4-bedroom at least apartment, considering the fact that she was sharing with, actually, no, it'd be 5-bedroom because she's sharing with 4 other people. Either way, there's a whole bundle of bedrooms there, and so paying about $1,000 a week isn't completely out of the question. Obviously, it also depends on where you're living in terms of, okay, what proximity to it, so and so and so and so and so and so is it. But either way, you might be able to pay maybe $500 a week at the lower end for maybe like a 2-bedroom or something like that. And so, yeah, it can definitely understand why you'd be paying $1,000 between all those people, because even if you are living in a share house like she is, I would find it very, very, very unlikely that anyone would be paying anywhere close to $100 or less. Even like no way at all would anyone be paying that. Like maybe starting at $150, but even then maybe $200 is more realistically.
If you're thinking of traveling to Australia, I would really suggest booking an Airbnb or making your bookings way earlier so that you can take advantage of hotel discounts, so that you don't end up paying so much for your accommodation on your vacation, or I don't know, whatever you're planning.
Airbnbs aren't very cheap, I would say. I mean, like, yeah, they can actually be more than renting. That's why people kind of choose to put their house on Airbnb instead of just renting it out. I mean, obviously there's other reasons as well, but for a night, like, it can be like, I don't know, $200 for a night. And so if you extrapolate that out to a week, obviously that's like $1,500, $1,400 a week. And so even though there's obviously very different use cases for Airbnbs versus actually just renting an apartment or whatever, but either way, I don't know if anything, either Airbnb or renting is cheap.
Talk about food, because I love my food, and I've recently really been trying to be healthy, but that has really increased my budget for food each and every week. So for example, you guys, if you're planning on buying organic food or healthier options for food, that will cost you so much, because food is generally really expensive. That just goes on to show you how life is expensive. The living costs are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, but like I already said, there is definitely another side of the seesaw to that entire thing in terms of people are earning on average compared to the rest of the world, or especially compared to the rest of the Western world. People are just plain and simply earning more. And so it kind of makes sense where, okay, obviously you have to be able to fill the gap in terms of things being expensive. I definitely agree in terms of things that are organic can be very expensive, but really compared to getting fast food and anything, if you actually just make your own meals, there is no way, like there's no comparison whatsoever in terms of buying a meal versus making a meal, I guess. People always want to say, oh no, but it's so cheap. I mean, yeah, it might be not too expensive overall, but it's mainly just the convenience factor. But if you actually just factor in the ingredients, like you can make a pasta or whatever it may be, it might cost you like $2 compared to $12 per meal. And so yeah, it just depends exactly which route you're going. Organic can be expensive, but surely that's everywhere in the world if you're going fully organic.
One other thing that I wish someone had told me before moving to Australia was how difficult it is to find a job. You guys,
it can be.
It's really so hard.
Really?
Before I moved to Australia, I was imagining by this time, working in a big financial boutique somewhere, making big bucks. But until now, I'm still struggling. It's just really hard, because most of the jobs that you will get will say that they want someone with a permanent residence, of which, you know, I don't have a permanent residence.
Well, that certainly makes sense because they're obviously wanting a long-term employee, and then also I guess you're competing. Well, I don't know. What did you say?
Working in a big financial boutique somewhere.
A big financial boutique. I honestly wouldn't know exactly what that means, but I feel as though surely if you could, it sounds like retail to me, and so surely if you can go to retail, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, maybe I can only assume there's going to be some limitations in terms of visas and things, but really, I don't think as though if you actually just go out there and apply for a whole bunch of jobs or just ask people, I don't feel as though I've ever heard of someone struggling, like fully struggling to get work. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
So what I'm just trying to say is if you're planning on moving to Australia, if you're a student, make sure that you're really flexible and you're willing to take anything that comes your way. In the meantime, whilst you're waiting for that.
That's everyone. Everyone has to be really flexible unless they just kind of get offered a job. So yeah, exactly that. I feel as though surely that's for everyone. Surely everyone has to take every job opportunity they get offered. I mean, you can't just be going, oh no, I want to be working at like massive money. That's kind of what you said. And that's very confusing because surely, especially as a first job with no prior references, kind of, especially as a student, because you can't work full time or anything like that, there isn't going to be many people that are just going to be going, yeah, no, come on. I don't care about everyone else that already applied for this job. You come in. Like, you got to fight for it for some regard. It isn't like there isn't just a massive line of people queuing up for the same job you're on, so it's going to be a little bit competitive, but not everyone eventually can get a job anywhere eventually.
But on the plus side, if you do get a job, they pay well, so you know you'll be able to take care of all those other expenses I was talking about, renting, food, vacations. So if you get a job, then let's go to the next thing.
Exactly like I said. I mean, get a job, get any job, and then work your way up. And also don't expect to be earning like $300,000, especially while you're a student more so. But either way, you were definitely just able to get your stuff in order once you actually just navigate it and go, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm searching for a job and I'm available these hours. Be very clear. And also, she was talking about getting your dream job. Like, no one surely is going to be getting their dream job as almost their first job traveling over here. I mean, maybe some people do, but I really don't know anyone. And also, just don't dwell on a job. You know, you don't hear something back. Okay, move on to another one. Don't be waiting for 2 months for no one to reply back to you.
The weather.
The weather?
In Australia are ridiculous.
Okay.
So, you know, you get extreme weather patterns. In winter, it's extremely cold, and then in summer, it's extremely hot. If you're planning on having a holiday in Australia, take it from me, I think the most appropriate time to come would be October to February, because that's when we're in summer and it's not extremely hot and the weather is just...
She said till February. February is the end of summer, and so I don't know if you're going to be kind of missing the hot period. It's definitely in September, not going to be stupidly hot. You might get like 20, 25, 28, and then obviously once summer rolls around, you're going to be getting into the mid-30s, high 30s, low 40s, whatever it may be, whatever it decides on the day. But either way, I would certainly not say that Australia is cold. Like, if someone asked me what's a cold place, I think Canada, Iceland, maybe even the UK. Those are cold places. Even if you're living in Tasmania, the most southern point of Australia, I wouldn't really say that you live in a cold place. And I guess another major component is the fact that buildings and houses aren't exactly designed for the cold, because they're more so designed for heat, and so you get a little bit of a trade-off there. But I certainly wouldn't say that Australia is cold. We can get some very severe kind of changes. You go, okay, one day it was this, why the hell is this the next day? And don't get me wrong, you can certainly get down into jumper and jacket kind of territory, but either way, it certainly wouldn't be considered like snow is virtually non-existent realistically.
So that's something that nobody would have told you.
Really?
I've talked about how expensive it is, how hard it is to find a job, and the extreme weather patterns. Let's go to the plus side, because you guys want to know, you know, the good things.
I want to know the good things.
Before I moved to Australia, I was so scared that I wasn't going to fit in, you know, racism and all that. But from my experience, I've really been having such a great time.
That's
Australians
good. Thank
are
goodness for
nice,
that.
welcoming people, and you really fit in, because there are also a lot of Africans, you know, if you want people from home and all. It's really been an amazing experience, and there's so many places for you to visit.
There's so many also just, it's such a multicultural country that even though obviously there's still problems, I feel as though worldwide in terms of a whole range of aspects, I definitely feel as though, or hopefully I would like to say that it shouldn't be something you should worry about. You might encounter the odd bad egg, sadly enough, but realistically, if someone said anything or just did anything, or I don't know, you would have to be in a pretty unlucky situation to be feeling like you're constantly under attack, I would hope. And so at least my perception of Sydney and I guess her experience of wherever kind of aligns well enough.
Really hope that I've been able to help someone who's planning on a vacation in Australia or moving to Australia.
Once the borders finally open.
These are some of the things that no one will tell you about moving to Australia. It's all the good things, but at least I got to tell you some of the cons of moving to Australia. So that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video.
For this video,
Show
isn't
me
it?
some love.
Make sure to check out the original video down in the description. I'll put it here. Things I wish I knew before moving to Australia. But no, there was definitely a few in there that I went, really, like the employment thing completely blew me away. When I know so many people that just come over, they just get a job immediately. They have to kind of to extend their visas. They go work on farms for however long. Either way, there were definitely job opportunities around. But I guess that's exactly what these kind of videos are for, you know, just people's personal experience. So you go, okay, well, I guess obviously this person had this. Other people go, no, it was completely fine. So at least then people who are either thinking that they're going to move here, even just visit, whatever it may be, they can go, okay, it's a little bit more expensive. Everyone's saying it's expensive, okay, but either then, oh, actually, I come from the US, so it's dollar for dollar by the time you actually just kind of do the currency conversion and whatnot. Or maybe it actually goes the other way, but going, man, this is super expensive. I don't know what the hell, how do people live here? And then once you actually start earning money, you go, oh, okay, I'm earning twice as much as I would anywhere else. And so at least it certainly makes sense. And so, yeah, I can definitely understand how people go, well, this, that, whatever. But hey, it's good to know just different perspectives, I guess. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, then make sure to check out some of the other videos that I've done. You know, we've done strange things, weird things, facts about Australia, all the different things that I comment on, all of them, give you my perspective. Or hey, maybe you even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.